We can see the piece of the road. The tank moves out and turns its muzzle on us, and I think it's going to shoot. Grandma, do you know what kind of tank it is? Do you know what kind of muzzle it has? I think I saw the eyes of a russist through that muzzle. They robbed dachas. They stole everything. You're carrying a heater from the kindergarten. Aren't you ashamed? Didn't anything go off anywhere? And that guy jerked the machine gun. I was frozen to death. The village of Artemivka in the Pechenizka settlement community had been under the occupation since the first day of the war. The ordinary life of many families turned into a nightmare. The war brought a lot of grief and sadness to the family of Valentyna and Vasyl Dragunkins. There was this window, this flower was taken aside, and here I was standing near this window. And here you can see the highway. Look where the trees are thin, that's the road to Valentyna. There's a car driving there now. And I was standing here watching. I ran with my phone, sat down in the bushes over there and filmed. And I saw Z's is painted on that. Well, I couldn't count how many there were, because they were coming one after the other. They were driving, you know, like a swan swimming smoothly. They were driving. And they drove up to the school and unloaded. They unloaded, all well-groomed, all. What caught my eye was their shiny boots. They were all so brave and cheerful, and they settled in the school. They set up a checkpoint in the center of the village. Be patient. You will have the Kharkiv People's Republic here. We asked, how long will you stay? We were given an order for 3 days. Everything will be here. Be patient. Everything will be here. Why did you come here to put things in order? They were robbing dachas. They stole everything. Well, just imagine. A Polish antenna, plastic dishes. According to the villagers, the occupiers did not neglect even the children's belongings that they took from the school. And they took away those children's sneakers and pens. That's it. It's terrible what they did. They shot it. We had a multimedia complex in the biology room, a whiteboard. They didn't take it. They cut it. They shot it. What they could not carry, they just destroyed. It was scary. We were very afraid for our children when they started to take away the cars. The first time they came, they immediately started to take away the cars. My husband hid this ambulance. He drove it there in the yard, hid it a little bit. And they could not see it. They walked down the street and did not see it. Well, there were good people who told them. And their commander came, I don't know what his nickname was, with soldiers. They came to us, you know, as if. You know, they wanted to overwhelm us emotionally. The fact that the equipment you were walking around the village, well, in the village, 3 meters from your place of deployment, and you came. They all had guns. There were grenades hanging here. There was a grenade there. They came fully armed. They came together and started, we have been told, there is a car here. The husband said it doesn't work. We thought, thanks God, he would go away at once. But it didn't happen. He said, well, look, it's a car. And here, he says, your family, he pointed at us. If the car is not at the school in an hour, it will be a disaster. The kids are afraid. When something has rumbled somewhere, flown by, one of our granddaughters falls on the floor, covers her head with her hands and screams. She just starts to have hysteria. She was so scared. A tank was turning around near our daughter's house, and they drove the wrong way. And the tank turned around and drove right into the house. And Platon, the youngest grandson, was standing right by the window, watching. He was so frightened that he still remembers it, and tells it from time to time, "Grandma, do you know what kind of tank it is? Do you know what kind of muzzle it has? I think I saw the eyes of a russist through that muzzle." He is 7 years old. He tells me these things. The worst began when Ukrainian troops began bombing Russian positions. The invaders began to look for someone to blame among the locals. When the neighbors saw the separatists running, they immediately went to their yards. There was one big guy, really big. He was so tall, above 2 meters high, about 1.80 m. He was Russian. He was shouting, "Face in the mud." I said, "Face in the mud." And they put them down. There were 3 neighbors there, and they put them on the ground and started. They put machine guns on them, and one of them, a neighbor told us, even put his foot on his back to make them lie down. "It's you. Give us your phone numbers." Our neighbors from Berluk had already warned us, because they had already had a similar incident there. They had Buryats there, they were the first to arrive, and they were committing outrages there. The search for the perpetrators weren't stopping. And once the Russians caught Valentin's son-in-law, Pavlo. The gun was right to his head, to his temple. And he said, "Have you betrayed? Are you betraying?" And he said, "Why am I betraying? I live right here, you walk around." So he started telling nasty things about him. "You're a gay too." He had an earring in his ear. He was his mother's only son. Pasha began to argue, to prove his point. He was not a silent man either. He said to the other guy, "Bring the bag, we'll put it on your head and take you to Vovchansk." They were looking for Auto soldiers running around. One Auto soldier did not leave. They started beating him. "You are an Auto soldier." They were beating him, and then his mother started to defend him. They wanted to shoot him, but it turned out that the shots were above him. He fell on the ground, together with his mother, and all the bullets went above him. There were Grad missiles coming from that place. Grads came from Borshova. They stopped and got out, so those russists. Ha ha ha, he he. About 3 minutes. They set up, fired a few lines, jumped into the car, and immediately started driving away, running away. Because they knew that if they stayed there, they would be under the fire in 5 minutes. They were shooting at random. They shot wherever they could. There was Pechenizka over there, they shot at Pechenizka, and where they really hit. 2 helicopters appeared near us. They were black helicopters. One big propeller, one smaller. They were flying above. I was holding the phone near my ear and said, "Oh my God, a helicopter is flying and I can see a russist sitting there." He has a sniper's rifle and his leg is hanging down. He is wiggling his leg and smiling. And Lilia, my daughter, said to me, "Mom, hide the phone, or they're going to shoot you." Unable to bear the life under the occupation, the men of the Dragunkins family secretly crossed the Pechenizka Dam and joined the armed forces of Ukraine. Pavlo Odary, the husband of Valentyna and Vasyl's daughter, who was defending Ukraine, was tragically killed. 3 children were left without their father. Their son Alexander is still defending the country. This is what my son-in-law liked to watch here. You can see the whole of Artemivka, as you can see, in the palm of your hand. You can see it perfectly. I said, stay here. Look at Artemivka, guard it.